Today we're going to talk about the ABCD Quick Check. This is a fast and simple way to make sure that your bike is safe and ready to ride. We recommend doing an ABCD Quick Check before every single ride you head out on.
A is for air. Okay, when you're filling up the tire, you need to find the PSI, or pounds per square inch. That will be either written or molded on the side of the tire. It will be either a single number or a range of numbers. For a range of numbers, it may be 40 to 60, for example. If it's something like that, then you want to pick a number in the middle, say 50. So first of all, you got to take off half. Then you're going to put the pump end on. And then you're going to pump it up to the number that it said on the sidewall here. On mine it's 70, so I'm going to pump this up to 70 on the gauge where it says PSI. And I want to turn it back and forth. I want to make sure that I don't go like that because I can get a pinch on the valve stem here. And then I'm going to put the cap back on and I'm ready to roll. When you're pumping up your tires, you'll find that there's two different kinds of valves. There's a Presta and a Schrader. On the Schrader, it's going to be the fat one right here with just a simple cap that you take off in order to fill. This is the Presta valve. For the Presta, you're going to loosen up the nut on the top there, and you can see all you would do is put the valve on the top, and you would push down. And then to lock it, you want to go ahead and screw that nut back down.
B is for brakes. Right hand controls the right brake, which is the rear brake. Left hand controls the left brake, which is the front brake. Right, rear, left, front. The front brake has more stopping power than the rear brake. So when stopping, be sure to use the rear brake first to avoid flipping over. When you squeeze on the brake, you want to have about 2 fingers of space, 1 inch, between the brake lever and the handlebar. If your brake levers touch the bar when you squeeze down on the brake, this could mean that your cables are too loose or your brake pads are worn down.
C is for chain and cranks. So this is your chain. You want to make sure it's clean and not rusty, and you're going to pedal backwards to make sure that it runs smoothly and doesn't skip any cogs or make any weird noises. This is your crank. It connects the pedal to the bike. So wiggle them back and forth to make sure that they're not loose or that there's no play.
D stands for drop. You're going to pick your bike up, drop it down, and you want to listen for any unusual or rattly noises.
And quick is for quick release, and because these checks don't take very long. And on this bike, the wheel is held on by this quick release. It has 2 settings. It has closed and open. So during the quick stage of the ABCD Quick Check, you want to make sure that this is nice and tight and it's closed. On one side it says closed printed into the metal. If you open it, you can see it says open printed into the metal. So what you want to do is make sure that once you have it on the bike, this is closed so their wheel isn't loose or doesn't fall off. To know that it's tight enough, you should be able to use your hand, and it should take some force to push it closed. And it shouldn't be wiggly once you have it in that position. It should be tight enough that with 2 fingers, it's still kind of hard to open it up. If it's still too loose, grab one side of your axle and then just spin the quick release to make it tighter. And then recheck how hard it is to close it and how hard it is to open it. Typically, these should never get loose unless you've already taken your wheel off at some point. So one thing that you really want to be sure of is when you have it closed, you have it behind your fork, or you have it inside of your frame, or facing backwards. If you close it facing forwards, your wheel will still be tight on the bike. But if you go and are doing some sweet jumps or some rides and you hit a branch or something, it can get hooked into here and pop it open while you're riding. So you always want to make sure that it's either facing backwards or it's behind part of the frame to protect that from getting hit by things while you're riding. Not all bikes have quick releases. Some bikes have axle nuts. If your bike has an axle nut, you want to make sure it's nice and snug and tight, and you'll need to use a wrench, either a 15mm wrench or an adjustable crescent wrench. And you just put that on there and try to tighten it down clockwise, righty-tighty, and it should be nice and snug to make sure that both sides, that it's not loose, and so it stays on the bike.
And last but not least, you want to take your bike on a quick ride to check and make sure that everything is ready to go. So now that you know your ABCD quick check, let's go ride.